Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining me. This is the SBHE from Tease Guitars. And this is the Fftl from Firefly Guitars. Two tele-style guitars from two of the internet's top brands that have both been well reviewed here in RJ's Cave. Which one is better? To anyone out there who is looking for a music resource, a learning resource for your guitar journey, check out Guitar Tricks, okay? The link is in the description. By using that link, you'll get a 2-week free trial, no strings attached. And you can head over there and they got tons of stuff. Just trust me, go check it out. And while you're down there doing that, let's start by talking about this neck, which is roasted flamed maple with a set of 18-to-1 locking tuners and a dyed red bone nut along with a set of stamped steel string trees. When we talk about the back of the neck itself, it's a compound radius. Don't ask me the exact measurements, although I can tell you that it's roughly about 42 millimeters at the nut, although it is wider from front to back at the nut than our standard modern C shape. It's definitely a little bit thicker, but then as you move up the fretboard, it morphs its way down to being wider and flatter as you go up. The same is more or less true on the front of the neck. We have a rosewood fretboard with 22 stainless steel frets with rounded ball ends, and the fretboard radius goes from 9.5 inches at the nut to around 14 at the 22nd fret. Now let's talk about the body, which has one layer of red binding on the top, none on the back, okay? We have a chrome pick guard and cover plate for the control cavity, one set of high output humbuckers, one volume, one kill switch, and one 3-way pickup selector. The back of the body does not have a belly carve, but it does have improved access to the 22nd fret. now that you've heard the pickups, maybe you're starting to get an idea about how hot these pickups are. But only one thing's going to tell us for sure. Let's test them. And while we do that, why don't we open up this guitar and see what's going on inside. All right, first, let's check the output of the pickups. What we have to do is connect our multimeter leads to a guitar cable, which is connected to the guitar. This introduces a little more resistance into our final numbers. We have to compensate for that. We add 1.5K to the bridge and 1.5K to the neck. For the middle, we add 0.75. For this guitar, our readings end up being 16.3 in the bridge, 6.1 in the middle, and 9.75 in the neck. As for seeing what's in the control cavity, I was able to lift the guard up enough that we could see inside. We got one full-size volume pot, one kill switch, no capacitor, and basically some pretty standard wiring otherwise for a guitar like this. And speaking of that pickup route, the one in the bridge, it's actually overcut. Yeah, if you look real close underneath the bridge, just at the edge of the bridge, you can see the hole. You can actually stick a piece of paper between the bridge and the body and get it inside that hole. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, set up all notifications, and consider becoming a member. For the price of a cup of coffee once a month, you can be in on the ground floor of everything that happens at RJ's Cave. Let's start at the headstock. You notice right away that this headstock is painted the same color as the body, which is normally something you see on higher end versions of a model or custom guitars or custom shop stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. You don't normally see it here. And you don't normally see it with a logo that matches the hardware, okay? Together, that's a really nice touch, you know what I'm saying? A little extra attention to detail. And the logo matches the chrome on the barrel style tuners, the barrel style string trees, and the 18-to-1 locking tuners. And these tuners feel really nice, like a very high-end set, okay? And not to be outdone, you got the standard truss rod access and a meticulously cut bone nut. Okay. Now, let's go on to the back of the neck. The back of the neck is done in a modern C, like a lot of other guitars, but it's done with an extra millimeter of meat on the back so that it doesn't feel like every other cookie cutter guitar neck. It has its own feel, it really does. And it's a nice little attention to detail. It helps separate this guitar from the pack. All right. On the front of the neck, we have a 12-inch radius maple fretboard with 22 stainless steel frets with ball ends. Let's check the back of the body. The body on the back has a cutaway on the neck heel to give better access to the 22nd fret, and it has a belly carve, okay? Back to the front, We have the continuation of this whole green envy finish. We got the 3-ply white pickguard, the paint, the metal flake, all that. It's gorgeous. We have the hot rail and this and the single coil, and we have 1 volume, 1 tone, 1 3-way switch with a top hat. Now, what do I think about these two guitars? Well, I think that these guitars are so close together, spec for spec, that it's really hard to pick a winner. Okay? Don't worry, I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick one over the other, but it's not going to be easy, okay? Both of these guitars are really, really good guitars. What this comes down to for me is, like, the little things, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the FFTL is only a one-trick pony, right? But it's a fun one-trick pony. And everything about it is more or less right. This isn't a perfect guitar. It's a very good guitar. That at its price point, it's crazy good. But it's not without its flaws. And I got to take that into account. And I also have to take into account its shortcomings. And at the end of the day, being a one-trick pony, it's kind of a shortcoming. But where this thing shines is the neck. Where on earth are you going to get a guitar that for $229 that has a roasted flamed maple neck with a compound radius on the back of the neck and on the fretboard? That also happens to have stainless steel frets with ball ends, and locking tuners. You don't find that. But because it's a one-trick pony, I don't know that I could pick it as the best of the two. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play, and if anybody out there is looking for an inexpensive way to get their Eddie Van Halen on, then this is it. This should be the first guitar on your list. This, or when Firefly does their tribute to Eddie Van Halen guitars, check those out as well. I'm sure they're going to be right in the same ballpark as this. So I don't know that I can actually call this one, the FFTL, the better of the two. At the end of the day, this guitar is more user-friendly. This guitar is more versatile. And I think at the end of the day, it's just as much of an eye-catcher, if not more so, with this finish. When I consider other things as well, I have to remember that the pickups in the FFTL are a factory set of pickups. And they're pretty good pickups, but they're made like 1,000 at a time to be basically a decent set of copies of a Seymour Duncan JB Jazz set. The pickups in this guitar were perfected here in New York by Tease Guitars and sent over to the factory to be replicated in every single one of these guitars. So that's a little more deliberate, a little more deliberate, you know what I mean? There's a little more intent there, you know. So I think with the versatility you get out of this guitar with the single coil and the wonderful mid-range on this hot rail, which is very hot, you can do just about anything. So at the end of the day, if you're asking me which of these two guitars wins, it's going to be this one. So for all you fanboys out there, don't go getting yourselves all bent out of shape. At $229, you are getting so much guitar out of the FFTL. I mean, you're getting a ridiculous amount of guitar. You're just not getting a pro guitar. You're getting one that's close. This is a pro guitar. This is ready to go on the road. This is in Broadway. This is being used for bands in Europe are touring with it. They're signed to deals, exclusive deals to use these guitars. So that's a bit of a difference too. That's going to do it for this one. You've been awesome. I've been RJ. Until the next one, take it easy.